Unit 7, Day 8 notes. The title is Composition of Functions. So yesterday we did operations, so adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. Now we're going to practice composing functions, so putting one thing inside the other and then simplifying from there. So again, kind of a warm-up, get you kind of thinking in this mode. So the first few, let f of x equal 3x squared. Here we go evaluating the rest. Okay, so what you want to do for problem 1, if it says f of 1, just take a second and look at what they gave you. Okay, I'm highlighting it yellow. What they gave me is f of x. That means in the function I have an x. See how this x, f of x, matches the x in the equation or the function? That's what's going to happen here. So if I have f of 1, instead of having an x in my function, in my equation, I'm going to put a 1 there. So see how I had a 1 inside my parentheses, now I have a 1 here. Okay, then from here we want to see how we can break this piece down, how we can simplify it, order of operations, PEMDAS stuff. So I'm going to do p parentheses first and e exponent. So 1 squared, 1 times 1 is just 1. Then I can multiply and I get that I have my answer of 3. So when I plug 1 into this function, just like I did here, I get out a 3. Okay, let's try the next one. Let's put a little barrier there. F of negative 2. So when I write this, instead of an x, I put in a negative 2 because, once again, I want what's inside parentheses here to match. Then I want to simplify it. Negative 2 squared. Be careful. Negative 2 squared is a positive 4. Then 3 times 4 is 12. When I plug, that's my answer. So when I plug negative 2 into the function, I get out an answer of 12. Okay, this one's a little weird, but just to practice, I have f of omega. Ooh, that's a bad omega. Let's redo that. It's a Greek symbol. Okay. Instead of omega, or instead of x, I want to put that symbol in omega. Oops. So I have 3 times, here we go again, omega squared. I want those symbols to match up, no more x's, and this is kind of goofy. I can't reduce that anymore, right? That's as much as I can do. My last one, problem 4, f of x plus 1. So I want to plug in x plus 1. When I do that, I get 3 times x plus 1 quantity squared. I want those two, I'm highlighting them green, I want those pieces to match up. Now, I'm going to keep going. It gets a little tricky. I need to handle x plus 1 quantity squared. Remember from yesterday, that means that this thing is happening twice, and then we practiced foiling it out. I'm going to drop down the 3 though. I'm running out of space, so squeeze it where you can. I have 3, and then I'm going to have x squared plus 1x plus 1x plus 1. I'm going to keep simplifying. I have 3x squared plus 2x plus 1. Now, again, like yesterday, I'm going to practice distributing it. I'm going to get 3x squared plus 6x plus 3. And then I'm done. Okay, so this one's more complicated. Go back to the beginning. When I plug in x plus 1, I get it to match, those look the same. I have some more complicated kind of simplifying to do here. I need to expand and I need to FOIL. I do all of that, then I distribute. Then I see if I combine. I can't, so then I'm done. Here we go with the operations in my box here. This operation is composition. Yesterday, like I said, we did adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. Today is just composition. So this is what it looks like. Okay, I'm going to take, I'm going to take g of x and put it inside of f of x. See how g of x is inside of there? Okay, so if you need to write a little note to yourself, let's do that. Let's say, take g of x and put inside f of x, because that's kind of weird, right? And if you look at the other one, it says k of p of x. So I'm going to, in a second, take p of x and put inside k of x. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to jump back up to the first one. I'm going to take g of x and I'm going to put it, and I'm circling here, I'm going to put it inside f of x. So I have the 2. Instead of that x, I put g of x. Okay, so does everybody see originally where I'm kind of bracketing that was an x, but I put g of x there instead? Then I go through my steps of simplifying, so I'm going to distribute, and I get 2x plus 2. I can't go any further, so there's my final answer. Okay. K of p of x. I'm going to take, and I'm circling again, I'm going to take p of x, and I want to put it into k of x. So I have the 3. Then instead of an x, I have 7x to the 5th, and then the little 2. Okay, so if you're really confused, this yellow part right here is the new part. This yellow part used to just be an x, okay? That part used to just be an x there, but I put p of x into it. Now my next job is to somehow simplify, whatever, distribute, combine, whatever it may be. So right here, back to properties of exponents, I need to give that little exponent of 2 to the 7 and to the x. So when I do that, I have 3 7 squared x to the, it ends up being to the 10th. I'm going to keep going. I have 3, 7 squared is 49, and then x to the 10th. And then I'm going to distribute in that 3. Oops, I only need one arrow. I'm going to distribute, or basically multiply that. So 49 times 3. That should be 147, if I did that correctly in my head. And then x to the 10th. And that's what I end up with. So all you're doing is taking one thing and putting it inside the next. Okay, let's practice. Problem A. We have functions. F of x is 2x, g of x is x squared minus 1. We're going to find a couple things. If you like to write this out, I'll write it out for the first few. It says f of g of x. So I'm going to take g of x and put it inside f of x. Okay, so f of x is 2x, but I put g of x into it. So I'm just going to circle this for a second. I take g of x and then I put it into that spot. So that's what I did for this first problem. I'm going to have to distribute, and I get 2x squared minus 2. There's my answer. Okay, next one. G of f of x. So this is what we want to do. Take f of x and put it inside g of x. Okay, so now I take f of x, and I'm circling again, and I'm putting it inside g of x. So what this will look like, 2x squared minus 1. Again, if you're confused, this yellow part used to just be an x, but I put 2x there instead. When I go and break this down, simplify it, I'm going to end up with 2 squared times x squared minus 1. 2 squared is just a 4, so let me clean that up. And I get 4x squared minus 1. There's my answer. Okay, let's do this last one. F of x. So as weird as it is, I'm going to take f of x and put it inside f of x. Okay, so I put f of x base. I'm going to put. Sorry guys, it's passing periods. So I'm going to take f of x and put it inside f of x. So I'm going to take it and put it inside itself. So I have 2 and then 2x. So again, this yellow part right here used to just be an x, but I put f of x inside of it. Go ahead and distribute in. 2 times 2 is 4, and then I have my x, and then that's completely simplified. If I went too fast, or if you're really confused, this stuff can be challenging. Make sure you go back, watch more videos, get more practice. Okay? Pause it if you're really stuck. Let's practice a couple more. But again, don't be shy to ask questions, especially in class. All right, I'm not going to write all these out. I'm just going to do it. F of g of x. So I'm going to have, let's do parentheses, x plus 1 squared. This yellow part used to be an x. I put g of x into it. This means this quantity is happening twice. So I have to, magic word here, FOIL. When I do that, I get x squared plus 1x plus 1x plus 1. I combine those middle pieces. I get x squared plus 2x plus 1. Problem B. Take f of x, put it into g of x. So I'm going to have x squared plus 1. Once again, this yellow used to just be an x. When I'm looking at this, x squared plus 1, I cannot do anything with it. That's my final answer. Last one, f of x. So I take f of x and I put it inside itself. So I'm going to have x squared and then the whole thing squared. Okay, I put it in parentheses though. This yellow piece used to just be an x. So thinking about what I would do with my exponents, I multiply those 2's together and I get x to the 4th. Okay, there's problem 2. Again, I'm going to say this. Make sure you're asking questions. Make sure you come and get help. This stuff can be complicated. Maybe watch this video a couple more times so that you feel confident. Okay.